an open NFT metaverse where creators and players truly own their digital asset, are empowered, and can monetize everything they create or they earn into the platform.
Hi guys, welcome to the Human and the Machine channel, where we talk to the teams developing some of the hottest technologies in the blockchain space around the world. I am Tlawi, your co-host for the day, and with me,
Hikaru, also known as a machine. So before we dive in, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and also to hit the bell icon so you don't miss our latest interviews.
Well done, Machine. Thank you. And today we have a very, very special guest. He is the co-founder and COO of The Sandbox, among many other things. So his name, Sébastien Borget. I tried my best, Sébastien. Sébastien, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you today, Chloe and Hikaru Machine.
Thank you very much. It's a real pleasure to have someone of your caliber in our show. So really, thanks a lot for that. Could you please tell us a little bit about yourself first?
Absolutely. Well, I'm French. I'm 36 years old, 2 kids, married, and I've been an entrepreneur for 14 years now. Together with my business partner, Arthur Madrid, we co-founded 4 companies. 3 of them have been acquired, so always diving in the space of new technologies. We spent the last 10 years into gaming. When we co-founded our previous game studio, we were really focused on like working with IPs and brands. That's when we brought Snoopy, Adam's Family, Pac-Man, Shrek, etc. And we were really focused as well into turning players into makers, allowing them to create their own world, their own towns, their own cities and adventure. And that's how was born the first version of Sandbox, which I'm sure we'll be discussing more today. I'm also the president of the Blockchain Game Alliance, which is a non-profit organization that now counts over 250 members from all around the industry and promoting the adoption of blockchain technology within the broader video game industry.
Okay, quite a lot you do, man, quite a lot. Very impressive. It's fantastic to see. I mean, so many people jump into business and they never can have an exit, and you had 4 very successful exits. So that's amazing. And everything you're doing and how you have jumped, it's like 15 years, right? Roundabout to be a businessman. So you have to adapt yourself all the time to all these different technologies emerging. How do you do it? What's your secret?
Well, my secret is to be passionate about something and to be early on. I think like we've always been pioneers in the use of decentralized peer-to-peer technology with BitTorrent and being involved into the community of participating to build that protocol on our first company, being early on user-generated content and allowing users to stream their photo, video, music in the cloud in our second company. Being early on into free-to-play and mobile games, seeing the opportunity it offered to anyone to start and make a career in video game again, whereas like the console and PC game market was previously crowded and there was quite a high barrier to entry. And finally, being early into believing that NFTs would actually really disrupt the whole video game industry behind and other like industries, of course, with digital asset through true ownership of your digital asset by users. And that's really, I think it's also like it's the path you take, basically, like being close, growing an ecosystem, being involved with your ecosystem, understanding what people want to do and really feel passion and deep down with your heart, motivated by the vision of like what this industry want to change. I think that's important, and that's what's driving us.
One more question before I get the machine to ask the techie questions, the nerdy questions. Can you tell us how the Sandbox has been changing and morphing while adapting all these new technologies? How did it start and how it is now?
That's a great question, and it's a great illustration of what I was referring to. We started Sandbox in 2012 as a mobile game, and initially it came from being just a simple game on the browser from its creator, Onimatrix in Argentina, where users could play with physics. Basically, you could drop like soil, water, sand, burn with fire, etc. And it was the physics simulator. We saw it and we said, it could be fun if people could do the same, but instead of a mouse, with a finger. Like they would feel like it's magical to drop element with a finger and interact with them. And that's why we decided to launch, let's make a mobile version. And then progressively from just 20 physical elements from the periodic table, we move into, let's add a lot of gamification like characters, platforms, enemies, trees, etc., and allow users to create their own games, still with the touch of the finger, and share that. And it worked. Like people were really excited by this, the simplicity of creation, and we grew it into a large success over 8 years that counted more than 40 million downloads over time and 70 million players creation. Wow. And at the same time, as that product became more and more successful, it became successful because the content was inside. So all the great creation made by users anywhere around the world were contributing to bring more and more users and really contributing to the value of the game itself. And at the same time, we grew the frustration that somehow we had no way on the existing platform, iOS and Android, to reward users other than giving them virtual currency and digital assets they didn't really own that were inside the mobile game only, which was frustrating. And that's how, toward the end of 2017, when we saw CryptoPunks, CryptoKitties, and the first generation of NFTs, we found like, wow, what if instead of like having virtual cats on the blockchain, we just enable anyone to make their own virtual cat and other content on the blockchain and start letting them monetize it, transfer it, sell it the way they want? Wouldn't that be cool? And that's how progressively we built a new version, this time 3D, multi-platform. And with at this core, like integrating NFTs and token to build really a decentralized virtual world. Now we say we're even an open NFT metaverse where creators and players truly own their digital asset, are empowered, and can monetize everything they create or they earn into the platform.
Yeah, good. I have so many questions, but let's, Machine, you go first now.
Right. What I find really exciting about the Sandbox is, like you said, it's open, it's the metaverse. It's like Minecraft, right? But now we're adding all these exciting monetization opportunities. So can you explain more about this VoxEdit and how people can create their own, essentially NFTs and be able to sell it, play with it? Because I think this just opens up a whole new, aspect of fun.
There's a whole digital economy that's now being built on top of Sandbox. And one of the reasons is like we move from being just a game to being a platform. As a platform, we offer the content creation tools. We put content first. That was our priority. And VoxEdit is at the center of that strategy around content. It was the first product we launched. It's a 3D editing, modeling, and animating tool that allows really anyone to start making voxel-based model. Voxel, you can think of it sort of like digital Legos. It's very accessible, like any kid can play with Lego. So voxel is the same, but also very powerful because there's like actually very talented voxel artists who post on daily basis the work they do. Some work can take like literally days, weeks, months of time spent, and hence could be very valuable. And the content they create with VoxEdit, you just export it to the marketplace and it's being turned into an NFTs where you can define the scarcity and the attributes, because then as an NFT, it's not just art, it's not just collectible, it's actually also, there's a utility attached to it. That utility is like, it's a game item. As a game item, it can be used with the game maker. That's the third key product on our platform. Game maker that's really no code. So again, like our philosophy is to enable anyone to create with a low barrier to entry, and then just drag and drop those NFT and you can start making like enemies, platforms, place some treasures, create all sorts of gameplays, your own story, your own adventure, your own treasure hunts if you want, your own narrative game or fight game, etc. just in a snap. And I think that's on that mission we've quite succeeded. Now we've got more than 30,000 monthly active creators using Game Maker. We've got like hundreds of new games in the gallery and soon published on the lands. That's some part we'll discuss after. And we've shown every time we launch creation contest or we look like how the overall ecosystem has been leveraging those tools to launch their own by experience, etc. Involving brands, involving bigger IPs as well. That's been part of our strategy. I guess we'll talk about it as well. But also enabling anyone who's been hit by the pandemic or who dreamed to make games but never went to programming school to start creating things that's really amazing and have been successful, so successful that they're able to earn a revenue, so making it their new job, but also start their own game studio, hire people, and start building a whole business around it.
Wow, it's so interesting, right? Because this is actually creating like you say, completely new digital economies, right? So now it doesn't matter, probably, like you said, COVID, right? Like economies around the world are like in decline, right? It's going to take a while for them to change the way they're going. But probably Sandbox economy has been thriving all this time, right?
Yes, well, if I can take about some numbers, in general, during the pandemic, like the video game industry has been growing significantly. But now that COVID has been going a little bit down, you see some shift. Sandbox, we've seen since the beginning of the year, like the user base has grown more than double in size, from 200,000 registered users to 500,000 now registered users with wallets. Our community of has moved to by the similarly over 1 million people following us over social media, Discord, etc. We've got more than 12,000 landowners from 4,000 at the beginning of the year, which shown like there's a lot of growth into NFT gaming that's been driven by the first wave of crypto art with the launch of Beeple collection, which the one that sold for $69 million. But afterward, there's always now like the rise of several play to earn and blockchain based game this summer, essentially. And Sandbox is part of that generation of product that started 3 years ago and now are accessible. People can use it. We have definitely more than 50 projects being built, 5 game studios around the world that are building, and we're working to grow that. And thousands of people who have been earning a revenue by being involved on our platform, either as artists, as a digital architect, game creator, game designer, community manager, players who participate into game and can earn token from their engagement, and many other jobs like virtual fashion designers and more.
Well, and one question, besides the obvious benefits of having a platform, right? Because again, it's not just a game, now it's a platform. So you get loyalty, you get users, everything. How does Sandbox monetizes in all these creations, in all these transactions? What happens?
Yes. So initially, Sandbox monetized by selling lands. So we have on our map 166, 464 lands in total, and that will be never ever any more lands into this virtual world.
Okay.
So there's finite supply. Creators need land in order to publish their experience so that users can access them with their avatar. So we've been selling since December 2019 about 65% of the total supply of lands, and we'll still have lands remaining to be sold until the end of 2022. Okay. Land have grown in value. Now I think the total value of that virtual world is around $500 million. Wow. And we made this year, the GMV of Sandbox is above $60 million this year from people buying land on primary or secondary market. Yeah. So that's the first thing. Not bad. It's growing, and it's growing because we bring the audience, we bring the creation tool, and people can really see and use to project themselves into that world. Okay. We have more than 165 IPs, like Snoop Dogg, Walking Dead, Care Bear, Smurf, and a few others. We also have Sand token, which is now a listed token and over 29 global exchange. It's one of the top 100 cryptocurrencies. We're launching premium NFTs in partnership with the IPs we introduce. So that also brings monetization. But ultimately, over time, and since we're decentralized, we will no longer be selling lands or NFTs. Like that supply, since it's finite, we will have no longer ourselves. It will be 100% in the hands of users. But we will still be collecting royalties. Every time a user sells to another user on our marketplace or a secondary marketplace like OpenSea, we collect 5% of that amount back into Sandbox. And out of those 5%, half of it is being reinvested directly into the ecosystem to support with the foundation creators, play to earn prize pool, and staking pool. Which means, like, if you're a creator, you're earning 95% of revenue you generate on Sandbox, which is probably the highest rate into all user-generated content platform, Roblox, Minecraft, or even streaming platform. And secondly, like as a platform, we're the only one that reinvests so much of its revenue, half of it, straight into the growth of its ecosystem, supporting players, creators, artists, and even stakers, people contributing to the economy.
Okay,
That's great.
Well, seems like you have it well thought. Machine.
Yeah. Now, earlier when you said these lands were worth like millions of dollars, it's quite fascinating how virtual land, it's really just a proof that they have value.
Yeah.
Just like real property in real life does. And I actually pulled up the Sandbox map, and speaking of IPs as well, I see very well-known brands like The Walking Dead, Atari, and I even saw the announcement with Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
tell us about it.
Yeah, we want to know more about it. It's like, how did you guys do it? And
you know him?
Yeah.
So our background is in gaming and bringing IPs and brands. So we understood that the power of IP and brands is to reach to their fans and be able to attract users, those users who will be first coming for the main IP, but could stay into our world, play games and experience from other IPs, as well as content made with user-generated content. We started in 2019 or 20, we introduced Atari, then we introduced Care Bears, Smurf, a few other brands, Walking Dead this year, back in July, and then finally Snoop Dogg. So it's also like a progressive process where always you have to work hard to convince the first one of like the value proposition, the vision you're building, and then show them like concretely what we are building. So demonstrating the example of games, the example of VoxEdit based NFTs that users can own and then use to build their own stories, game adventures using the content from those brands to demonstrate how it will all happen. And then after, there's some kind of snowball effect where you're able to convince bigger and bigger names to enter. What we try to do with Sandbox is always to bring a lot of diversity into this world. So brands from gaming, brands from fashion, from sports, from like family-friendly culture, or like even zombies. And now, more specifically, like celebrity from Hollywood, etc. And music artists as well, like Snoop Dogg. I think he's like a hip-hop star legend. We know him also for the culture he has around like weed and around cars, dogs, etc. So he brings a lot of elements that are very that we can use, our users can own and use as well. So it's been very a creative process that we enjoy working with his team essentially, and bringing his mansion, bringing his car collection into the Sandbox Metaverse, allowing his fans to play with them around, see the mansion, because they cannot do that physically, but they can see a virtual version of it. That will be his first private performance in the Metaverse. If you own the Snoop Dogg private party pass that we sold in like 20 minutes, all of that is coming together, and it's coming together very organically. Like we have those ideas, the tools are there, so we can build them. And every IP is of course different, but there's always something creative we can make for them in Sandbox.
Okay, wonderful, amazing. We saw the price of one of those tickets right now is like 1 point something ETH, right? So pretty amazing.
So that's also an opportunity always. Like we built NFTs that could be growing in value because they have a real utility behind, and so the community can really contribute and earn revenue as well as they help support, build, and grow the value in the ecosystem.
Machine, techie, nerdy questions.
That's awesome. So when it comes to creating these, again, we come to the VoxEdit. Essentially, if I want to become an artist, what does it take to get started and what are the requirements?
As I mentioned before, like we're trying to make the barrier to entry as low as possible in Sandbox. And that's been one of our great success. Typically, most of creators that are part of the community, they didn't go to like a 3D art school or like a programming school. There are people who had any kind of job, from waiter, from like office kind of work. They got hit by the pandemic. They found about Sandbox. They tried. They've been following some of the streamers that every day we have someone from the community streaming how to use Sandbox, how to use Game Maker, etc. So they have been quite actively following, and they've within a month their skills has been really ramping up, and they've been able to make games on their own, be creative, even start streaming themselves to spread out the knowledge in the community. We even launched like an academy, which is a lot of resource we compile. We have bootcamp program, which are also like intense learning course within 1 week where you can become a Sandbox certified creator and builder, trained by more skilled people in the community. That's something like you do not need any skills at the end of the day than just the motivation. I think that's the most important one.
And were you a gamer before going into business? Were you a gamer? Is that the reason you are so deep in?
I suppose so. My first console was Super Nintendo. I played all games through. I collected all consoles. I spent all my summers playing the Counter-Strike back when I was teenager. And I guess like that's what drive me into like, let's make my own game studio one day. That my third company was we essentially seeing the opportunity of like, oh, we can make games just being a small team of one programmer and one artist again. That's the dream. Like, that's kind of like garage startup story that you're always looking for in a new industry before like the technical barrier and the competition becomes so high. Then again, like, wow, you can only succeed if you have that capacity of execution with a team of 10, 100, 1,000, and production costs will rise. So.
Okay, and I was asking you that question because I was thinking, okay, as a gamer, when was the first time you thought about, of course, not, I want this to be an NFT, right? But what was a moment in your gaming experience when you dreamed that you could actually be the owner of that digital asset that you had in the game that was actually going to have a real value in life? Did you ever have this idea? And when you saw this NFT thing, you were like, that's what I was thinking all along, or not?
Strangely enough, I would say I haven't had a moment like this where everything I earn into a game, I thought, oh, I wish I was an NFT, or I wish I could sell it outside of the game. And that's, for me, that's after thinking through, because I've been growing into an industry of video game, I've been playing games, and it's always been like that for 20 years, that anything I see on the screen is actually virtual. You don't have really that feeling of you can own it and you can sell it. I've been conditioned into a thought process and a thinking design where like it's video game, it's entertainment, so it's not real, that's not real money, and it's okay, which is wrong basically. And no, if you just grow and you never question things because you take them as they are, well, you can never change and disrupt forward. So that's why now I'm really keen on pushing and saying, look, for 25 years, we all played games where all the content we earn, or like we were virtually earning free, like with a lot of reward, a lot of coins, characters, weapons, etc., is never ours. And doesn't that bother you at the end of the day? And I'm trying to see, and now it can, because now there's something better that we're offering you. You actually can monetize, and because those assets hold value, we can build a digital economy of services. And if we can build a digital economy with services, we create jobs. We create not just small jobs, we create thousands, millions of jobs. Mark Zuckerberg, so I've been pitching and talking for a year now about like all the new job opportunity in the metaverse. Now that digital assets can hold value, you can have essentially like services meaning like you can have like jobs and a whole digital economy that's being built on top of NFTs. A digital economy, like we're not talking just about few hundred jobs or thousand, we're talking about millions of new jobs that really happen into video games or like virtual world, which range from creation, commerce, transaction, community management, and even being a player. And you don't need to be like a competitive player to actually earn revenue, just like spending a few minutes a day. Those rewards have value. You can sell them and turn them into a real revenue. And I've been speaking about that for almost a year now at various events, all the new job opportunities into the metaverse. Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook made recently an announcement like they are creating 10,000 new jobs focused on metaverse. So I think really the media and the public in general start to realize that actually there is an opportunity here for everyone. And what I call the fourth revolution, industrial revolution, will probably be bringing more work into virtual worlds than into the second or tertiary service industries.
Will play to earn games kill the rest of the games? Do you think they will all have to go that way? I mean, it seems almost obvious, but maybe you have it better than me. You know more than I do.
It's a great question. As the president of the Blockchain Game Alliance, we are seeing many traditional actors from the video game industry, Gameloft, Ubisoft, AMD, Square Enix, Atari, etc., who've been looking at the space, but not first movers. The truth is, like now, they are feeling, them and many other game studios, they are feeling more pressure to add NFT, etc., because they are seeing players who actually, and not just thousands of players like it used to be for the past 3 years. Now we're talking about literally millions of players on a daily basis who spend more time and earn more revenue into games like Axie Infinity or other that offer play to earn than other games. The thing is, at the end of the day, we're all competing for user time and user attention, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, or Roblox or Sandbox. That's the key metric, how much time users are going to spend on our platform and services. Guess what? As a user, where are you going to spend more of your time if you have the same or reasonably the same amount of fun and entertainment? Are you going to keep spending it on a platform that takes your money or like makes you play for free initially and then charge you? Or are you going to spend it in the place where you can have the same amount of fun, but, oh, you know what? It's your new job or it's actually a new complementary source of revenue. Then it's hard to beat free. It was hard for a long time. But I think like now you get paid to do a thing and it's still fun.
Yeah.
There's no way back.
Yeah, absolutely. No brainer. Yeah. Amazing. Machine.
Yeah, I mean, given this, I love the idea of being able to make money while having fun. It's the best of both worlds. And coming from a very DeFi hardcore background, I'm always thinking about, okay, the convergence of NFTs, play to earn, and also DeFi. And I was wondering with Sandbox, if I make these voxels, I have land, instead of just buying or selling it to others, can I also rent it out? And like, let's say earn a monthly rent on my virtual land?
So there'll definitely be many ways for you to generate a yield or revenue from your NFTs. You can rent land to others. It's almost like real estate in the physical world. But you can also like use your NFTs, sell them on the marketplace, fractionalize them potentially, use them as collateral for taking loans, They are accepted on some platform now. You can also consider staking sand into a land to generate certain resource, those resources that you will need to make new NFTs and define their scarcity. We're putting in place many ways to contribute to the value of this new world, this new digital nation that we are building, whether you are an artist, a creator, a landowner, or even just like owning sand and staking, so contributing to the economy.
Okay. Well, seems like, we are talking about the future, but it's the present. So now I'll push it. What's the future? Not just for Sandbox, but for GameFi. Where do you see this going in the next 10, 15 years?
So you're absolutely right saying like this is the present. Like many people think like this is more of like theoretical. No, we already have thousands of people who are making, if a million of people in general, making a living from playing blockchain and play to earn games. The future is probably the generalization of that, essentially in two aspects. One is like, because of the decentralized nature of those player-owned economies and NFTs, the platform will be evolving and governed by the community itself. We've seen that into MMORPGs. There's our MMORPGs that can live on for 20 years and more, like RuneScape, World of Warcraft, etc., that could be operated directly by the community. And the second thing is like, I'm sure every game will include player-owned economy, NFTs, and token in the future. And as such, like everything we do in game will actually become almost like a financial decision. Do I buy this word or this word? Can I sell it if I don't use it, etc.? And that's where, like, when it becomes generalized, that there's no more distinction about like what's the value of physical versus digital. Like a whole world is made of things that are valuable digitally, and it's almost the Oasis vision, but not just into the entertainment of it, into like the whole aspect of life of it.
And now you guys are moving to Polygon, right?
So that's indeed something we've announced, and that's what we're working on. We'll soon launch the first phase of it. With sand coming to Polygon and the staking of sand on Polygon. Then after the fact, you can use mint your asset and then publish your games and experience on Polygon.
Okay, amazing. Machine, any last thoughts? Unfortunately, we're running out of time, man.
Time always just flies by in these interviews.
Yeah, especially this kind of interviews. Amazing.
Yeah, so to sum up, if I had to ask one more thing is, what would be like the key takeaway or brief message that you want to get out to the community? Because I'm sure people want to know, how can I get started or how can I participate in this metaverse?
Well, I would refer again to this idea, like it's all about motivation, curiosity, and sharing, essentially sharing knowledge. So join our Discord, join our Telegram, start to look at the game makers, the Academy of Sandbox to learn for yourself, try out the tools. Like what's important is like as a project, there's many tools, products that you can already test, even without buying any land, without any crypto, etc. You can just dive in, see for yourself if you like the community, the spirit around it, and progressively like decide if you want to start dabbling into like owning a first NFT, entering the space, contributing, selling your creation, and progressively by getting more and more involved into like what it means to be part of like an open metaverse and touching into the digital economy.
Yeah, it's totally fair. I mean, it really is just about wanting to do it, right? Beautiful. Sébastien, well, I think unfortunately we have to wrap up this interview. Is there anything else you would like to say before we close this one?
Nothing in particular. Thanks for your time. Thanks as well for helping us like bring out more awareness in general about what's happening into the metaverse and with NFTs. We have a growing community in Thailand. It happened quite out of a surprise. Really wanted to say thank you for all creators, all artists in Thailand. Keep up doing amazing work, and I'm sure we'll find within our virtual world a lot of like Thai culture inspired and talented artists, etc., present in the metaverse. That's from Thailand.
Yeah, Thai people are extremely talented when it comes to arts and creation. Impressive, impressive. Well, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for sharing all this amazing knowledge, know-how, and experience, man. And we hope to see you next time very soon. If you don't mind, we would love to touch base with you again in, I don't know, 6 months or something, and just to talk a bit more. Is that okay?
It's okay. Sounds good.
Okay. Man, thank you very much. All the best. Have a good one, buddy.
Stay safe.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Machine, thoughts?
Man, I would just say one word: brilliant in all aspects.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's always the same with these outstanding people, man. Just amazing characters, super smart, super humble. No snub, nothing, no big words. It's just very people with lots of clarity.
Yeah. And I know lately we've been covering a lot about NFT and play to earn, and of course it's still super hot. What I think that's even more fascinating about the sandbox is you can create your own Vox or your own assets, and be able to use them, monetize them, share them. And I think that's just a whole nother dimension of fun.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Again, we keep saying it over and over, right? Like everything that before was like kind of a hobby or a waste of time, now it's becoming industries, not just jobs. These are going to be the new industries that will drive the workforce for, I don't know, for how many decades, man.
Exactly. Like he said, you can build services inside and hire and create jobs within the game, which I think is absolutely just amazing.
Yeah. And on this time, I mean, there's no cost for the world. There's no ecological cost because things are getting better and better, right, with technologies. So it's just creativity. You know, what makes us special as humans is what is driving the next generation of pretty much everything. I think we're so early, no one really knows what reality is going to look like in 20 or 30 years. Seriously, I think it's just going to be like landing in a new planet.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, beautiful. Machine, thank you very, very much for one more episode. Thank you, guys. Any last thoughts? Any last things to say?
Well, I was going to say, if you're an artist or even if you're not an artist, I highly recommend you check out this VoxEdit because, again, you can create things and create value for the metaverse. And I was going to say, I'm not an artist, but I want to ask our design team and even you to create like a human and machine robot in a VoxEdit. That'd be super cool.
Let's do that, man. Let's do that. And just a reminder about click, like, share, do all those beautiful things that help so much what we do. Please.
Yeah. And also comment down below what you think about the sandbox and what kind of assets you would even be interested in making. We'd love to know.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Machine. Thank you, everyone, again, and see you next time.
See ya.
Bye-bye.